Video, we're going to discover why the evil pound sign is showing up in our outputted format when we're compiling. So I have a test Scrivener project open. I created some chapters and some subfolders and some documents inside. And this, if you can't figure it out, is part from Bram Stoker's Dracula, and it's an approximation of how the book is laid out. So let's look at what's happening here. So we've got our book, we've got our text in our folders as so. The problem is when we're compiling, we're getting these stinking pound signs when we try to insert an extra line of text in here, and we're like, where is that coming from? So let's take a look. We're going to go to the compiler, and I'm going to compile for print because this is where it's happening. So every Scrivener project can be output in a variety of formats, and all of those formats have their own unique layout settings attached to them. So if I click on print and I choose manuscript times, you'll see this in here where it says assign section layouts. So this is the part of Scrivener where you tell it how you want each thing in your book to look. So my title page is set to front matter, my chapters are set to chapter here, or my folders rather are set to chapters, and here are my documents as scenes. Well, what the heck is going on? So you'll notice you can scroll this list to look at the various layouts, and they give you samples, and oh my gosh, there's that evil pound sign right there in the section that's called chapter. Alright, so let's see what's going on here. If I click on assign section layouts and I click on scene, you'll see that there's these stinking pound signs in here. These are separators that are driving us absolutely bananas, and how do we get them out of here? That's all we want to do. We want the extra space, not the pound sign. And you'll see that in our chapter heading choice is set to this chapter heading format, and the chapter format displays the chapter and some text, and again it's bringing in the text with those crazy pound signs. What the heck? Well, here's the thing, you can't change it here because this is the built-in style for the print output, and Scrivener doesn't want you monkeying it up with no possibility of recovery. So you have to make a copy and then you can edit that. So let's do that. I'm going to cancel, and we're going to choose the Scrivener format that we want to start from. And note that if I click on modern, instead of the stupid pound signs, I get this cute little doodad in here. So it's still putting a divider between these text sections within the page. So for the sake of replicating the reported problem, we'll stick with the Times manuscript style. I'm going to right click on it and say duplicate and edit. Or you could click this little plus sign down here and say duplicate and edit. Either one will work. And you're going to give it your own name for this format. So this is going to be my manuscript times format. A project format, which is what we see here, means that this format gets stored in this project for reuse. If instead you choose my formats, it'll be available to use in other Scrivener projects that you may open. That's the difference. I'm going to leave this in the project formats for now. So here are all of the different ways things get output. And you'll remember that we saw that under chapter was those stupid crazy pound signs, and how the heck do I get them out of here? Well, let's take a look. Under formatting, and we look under title options, this is where the chapter number is coming from, or the chapter title rather. And we can see that it's putting some blank lines at the beginning to push the beginning of the chapter down a little bit. And we don't have any prefixes set up or suffixes. And we're removing the first paragraph indent. So that means that the first paragraph in our file will have no indent. The rest will have indents. And you'll notice back here in my document it doesn't have any indents at all right now. So where is that stupid pound sign coming from? Well, over here on the left, we can click on Separators. And we can look under chapters separator and we can see, oh my gosh, there's the evil blank line separator. So make it go away, just like that. Backspace it out of there. And recall that the chapter with title section type that we were looking at, or layout type, also had it in there, so we'll get rid of that one too. And oh look, here it is again. So we can adjust this to suit our needs. And if you don't want pound signs in there, maybe you want some other, 3 stars or whatever, we can go in here and get those out. These are our separators. You'll also note that separators determine what happens in terms of page breaks. So chapter heading, the default separator says a page break before the section and a page break between each chapter heading, which is probably what you want, a chapter to start on a fresh page. But if you wanted to override that, you could certainly do that here. In the case of a poetry book I'm working on, I actually had to override the section text so that it wasn't using an empty line, but was rather using a page break, because each poem starts on its own page, ends on its own page. Alright, so now that we have this copy, our special manuscript times all created, we'll save this and we will compile, and we're going to say a little prayer, and we're just going to preview this. And here we go. Now it's bringing in all of the built-in stuff that was in this particular format. With any luck, we are no longer seeing any pound signs. Yay, they're gone, they're gone, they're gone, they're gone. We did it right. So the moral of the story is you can't edit the section formats that Scrivener has built in, but you can copy the whole thing, and then you can edit your own copy until your heart is content.